early. So if you were planning on joining us live, sorry for jumping in a bit early. But today I have the distinct pleasure of someone if you're in the tire industry, you probably already know him very well. But Kevin Rohlwing, who's I think your current title is the Chief Technical Officer over at TIA or the Tire Industry Association.
Yeah.
But Kevin, for those that maybe don't know who you are, do you mind maybe just giving us a brief background on you and why not TIA?
Sure. Thanks for having me. First of all, always a pleasure to help out and promote the industry. I'm a third generation tire dealer from outside Chicago, Illinois, a town called Elgin, Illinois. My grandfather and his brother founded Rohlwing Brothers General Tire a long time ago. My father and his brother then took it over, and then I worked there with all of my brothers and cousins pretty much all through high school, college, and then came back after college to work there as well. Started with the association in '96 to create commercial tire training for truck tire techs. Pretty much did that for the first 5 years. And then, of course, you had the old ITRA TANA merger. And that's when I started getting into the automotive side of it. And from the automotive, then it went into earth mover and then farm and then industrial and still commercial. And really, for the past, would have been now 29 years, have been at the association training, writing, creating, producing training programs. I don't do as much teaching as I used to. I do get to the classroom every now and then, but that's pretty much what I do. In terms of numbers, this is where I date myself. This is year 43 in the tire business. So, yes, I am that old. And I've been doing it a long time. So I was there when the alphanumerics were moving over to the P metrics. I was there from the tube type to the tubeless. I was there from the bias to the radial. So I've seen a lot over that 40 something years. And, it gives me a unique perspective. I'm still a technician at heart. I don't think that'll ever change. I do a lot of other things. My job at TIA right now is pretty much to be in charge of all of our training programs. I have an incredible staff of people, great trainers, office and support people as well that just do a fabulous job of running the day to day. And I get to stay at the 20, 30,000 foot level and focus on updating programs. I do a lot of work with Roy Littlefield in our government affairs office as well. Trying to work with regulators and elected officials to make sure that they understand how regulations and such are going to affect our industry. I mean, I'm a tire dealer. I'm a technician. I've been with TIA for decades, and hopefully for at least another decade more. I don't think I'm done yet. I still got some tread on the tires, so we'll keep her running for a while.
Well, thanks for sharing your background, Kevin. So yeah, to your point, and keeping it at 30,000 feet, I just want to kick off this conversation with a stat that just came out from ADP yesterday, and they said that the private sector hiring rose just by 37,000 in May. That's actually the lowest it's been in the past 2 years. I'd also like to share a stat from us over at Tire Talent. Uh, we're down 48% in new job orders year to date. So that just simply means a client's giving us a new opening to recruit for. What are you seeing in terms of hiring in 2025? Are with the tariffs and with maybe I think we just saw an overall slowdown just a bit in Q4 and bit of Q1. Are you seeing tire dealers kind of being hesitant, or what are you seeing more, I guess, on the retail side versus the manufacturing side?
Well, I mean, I think retail, you got to separate it, right?
Yep.
There's the passenger light truck tire side and there's the truck tire side. So, we don't really track that. So I don't have any actual data
Sure.
based on,
Anecdotally.
yeah, anecdotally. I mean, we're always looking for people. I mean, I think that you're always looking for good people. The tire technician landscape is getting older.
Sure.
And I think that, as talent's talent, and if you find talent, you're gonna hire it and keep it. I mean, the commercial business is always busier in the summer. I mean, that it's been that way since I was a kid. A lot of that has to do with just the fact that construction, but even construction's down too. So I mean, I think that everybody's being cautious right now.
Yeah.
And I think what you've got right now is nobody knows how any of this is going to work out. Nobody knows how any of it's going to shake out. You've got so many unknowns, and business owners, managers, Wall Street, everybody, nobody likes uncertainty. And right now you've got a lot of uncertainty kind of across the board. So, I know that you and I have talked in the past that, the new tire manufacturing side has slowed down a lot. And again, that's not surprising when you hear about, tire manufacturers that are, shutting down plants, consolidating production. It's a pretty tough, it's always been a tough business to be in.
Sure.
And it's getting tougher. I mean, the one thing that we don't, we can't deny, and the one thing that we can't overlook is the fact that the tires are still going to wear out. I mean, you can't really get around that. I mean, especially on the commercial side of it. I mean, garbage still needs to get picked up. Grocery needs to go to grocery stores. I wish my recycling guys would pick up my yard recycling. I spend all the money on those dang paper bags so that I can do the responsible thing. And these clowns never show up. So it ends up getting thrown in the trash.
Or they put in the regular garbage when they do come, right?
Well,
I've seen
it's
that
supposed to
on
be
our
on
block.
recycling days. You got
Yeah.
the recycling days are supposed to be regular recycling and yard recycling. And we haven't had yard recycling picked up, pretty much all year. So that's a story for another day. We'll start
Totally.
complaining about the government. We don't need to get into that. But certainly, trucks are moving. I mean, and I think that freight's down. If you're looking at some of the freight stuff like that,
Sure.
that's down. I mean, just again, you've got a lot of economic slowdown right now. And I think that has a direct impact on the tire business. I mean, there's no doubt about it. On the retail side of it, back to work mandates are great for the passenger tire business. I mean, when we, during COVID and all that, passenger was dead. I mean, it was just dead because cars aren't moving.
Sure.
And if cars aren't moving, they're not wearing out tires. So maybe a little bit of bright spot there. I mean, I think that the average age of vehicles going up is good news for the retail sector, for the passenger light truck sector. I mean, again, it's, you're going to repair your old car rather than buy a new car. I have a friend of mine locally here who said, he's got people that'll put $2,000-$3,000 of work into a $5,000 car because it's cheaper for them to pay the $2,000 or $3,000 than to go out and buy a new car. And the used car market's just brutal right now with inflated prices. So, the choice between going out and buying a used car, you're going to pay twice as much. You're going to saddle yourself with a car payment or, more money out of pocket. And again, I think that people are just cautious and not willing to take on that additional debt right now with so much uncertainty. So I think there's a lot of factors at play right now, and none of it adds up really well. But I'd say, if anything, probably static across the board. I mean, I haven't heard of big layoffs, and I watched some of the online groups, the social media groups in the tire business. And, some are slow, some are fast, some are streaky. There's, it's a feast or famine business for a lot of guys. Some days we're busy as all get out, and the other days we're standing around waiting for trucks or cars. So, I mean, I think that a lot of it depends on where you're at. I mean, I know that certain regions of the country are probably doing better than others. Construction always helps, but right now there's not a lot of new home construction, and that slows down a lot of trucks. So, that hurts as well. So there's a lot of factors at play right now. And I can't say that there's any one thing that's going to point to the end or the future, but
Sure.
certainly people are running leaner. I can tell you that. I mean, if you talk to the supplying side of it, they're going to squeeze every drop they can get out of every piece of equipment, truck, tool. They're running lean right now, and watching hours more closely, and just kind of reevaluating how they're going to go about things.
Totally appreciate that. So bringing it back to tech specifically, where do you feel anecdotally we are right now with techs? On our side, we're always seeing this consistent demand that there's just never enough. Are you
Yeah.
sort of
Well,
experiencing the same? And what are your thoughts on the demand?
there's never enough good ones.
Okay.
I mean, and that's kind of the thing, is that I've always had this issue going back to when I worked for my dad. It's a tough business. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to people and say, oh, it's great, you're going to love it. No, it's tough. I mean, when it's cold, you're cold. When it's wet, you're wet. And it's hot, you're going to sweat. I mean, if if the vehicle, if you're on the commercial side of it, if it's parked someplace unpleasant, then you're going to be working in unpleasant conditions. I mean, so I think that it's a hard sell to a workplace. Everybody wants to be an influencer. Everybody wants to have that cushy job where they can just sit at a desk, and trust me, it's not all that it's cracked up to be, but it's hard work. And we've done away with so much vocational training at the secondary level, in the high schools, that these kids get out of high school and they don't know what they want to do. And I mean, I'm loving seeing the fact that there's more interest in the trades right now, because
Sure.
the old go to college and you'll get a degree and then you'll get a really good job and all that. Those jobs are harder to come by. And with AI, I mean, that's one thing I think works in our advantage. I mean, AI is not going to change a truck tire.
No,
AI is not
not
going
at
to
the
change
moment.
oil in a car. AI isn't going to align something. I mean, so there's plenty of room there. But I think that for a generation that's very used to instant gratification, it's difficult for them to accept the start at the bottom, work your way up, pay your dues, show up to work every day, work hard, do a good job, pay attention to what you're doing. I mean, I'm old school Gen Xer. All right. I mean, show up on time, do your work, keep your head down, do the best you can, do as what you can. And then, the hard work will pay off in time. And for a lot of us Gen Xers, that are still in the business, we're probably there, but we've also lost a ton of talent because, and no offense to the boomers out there, but the boomers don't want to step aside, which leaves the Gen Xers in the middle, because the millennials want to move up. So the companies are looking at it like, well, I mean, I got this Gen Xer here that's making a ton of money, and I got a millennial that, I can pay less, that can more or less do the same thing, and we'll accept some of that loss, in that respect, and save some money and get rid of it. I mean, I know I have quite a few Gen X friends of mine in the industry that are, transitioning between different jobs that have been, topped out, basically been told, this is as far as you're going to go. So if you want to stay, we'll keep you, but don't expect to move up. And that's, we're losing talent. And on the earth mover side of it, you go into like the truck tire earth mover side of it, the average age of your earth mover technicians is in his 50s. I mean,
So
that's tough,
why? I mean, anecdotally, I guess I'm a millennial, and then you have Gen Z, right?
yeah.
Why are they not really entering? Because it's everyone wants to be a talking head on and an influencer, or if there's easier ways to maybe make money at that entry level. What
Well, I
is it?
think they don't see the path.
The path.
And
Okay.
I've said this many times. This isn't the first time that I've said this, is that, they got to see the path. And I mean, and here's the thing. If you start as a technician and you learn the business from the ground up, okay?
Yeah.
And if you stick around and if you show you're reliable, if you show you're going to be there every day, if you show you care about the quality of your work, it's going to get noticed, because there's going to be an equal number of people that don't show up on time, that don't care about their work, that don't have any pride, that don't really, just care. I've always said this, and I just hired I'm not sure if he's a Gen Zer or if he's a millennial. He's kind of in the middle, but I mean, he wants to do a good job. He really does. And I've got a couple of millennials that work for me as well, and they want to do a good job and they want to work hard, and they've been rewarded for it. But you got to pay your dues, and it makes you so much better. And then you can go down that path. If you're on the passenger and like truck tire side, it's the auto mechanic. They make pretty good money now. And that's a pretty, it's a skill. I've said this also many, many times. People that have heard me before are going to get tired of all of my little sayings, but it's a skills economy. All right. It is a skills economy out there right now. If you have skills, you're employable. If you have soft skills, if you don't have skills, you're going to be in a tough place. I mean, I know people that have they've got all the soft skills, I can work with people and I know how to use this program and that program, but that doesn't fix my car. That doesn't change the tire on this piece of equipment. That doesn't, work on truck tires. That doesn't keep the garbage trucks moving. That doesn't, keep the retread plants running. I mean, the skills economy, even if you get into the trades, I mean, we do a lot of work with, community college in Baltimore County, here in the Baltimore area, and I work with their automotive program. I've been working with them for 20 years, and they're doing great. They got a ton of people coming in because, these kids are coming out of high school and they're thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Well, if you go to that and you get that training, and even if they don't stay in it, half of the kids that go into this automotive program end up someplace else, but they're ending up someplace else in a skill. It's working and fixing and repairing. I mean, AI isn't going to fix the copier. AI isn't going to fix your heating and air conditioning. AI isn't going to, I think, AI. There's a lot of white collar, soft skill jobs that are going to get replaced by AI. They already are.
They already are. Yeah. So,
Exactly.
so to your point, a couple of things. Number one, millennials, they're right now 29 to 44 years old. They make up 36% of the workforce,
Yeah.
and Gen Z is 14 years old to 28 years old, right? So, my brother actually used to work for Google. Used to.
Okay.
He's a computer science degree from Penn
Good.
State, very well known school, and he was part of a mass layoff. And at that level, right? AI is truly disrupting that
Oh
space
yeah.
because it's basically putting very senior people have a very cheap or cost effective assistant that used to write the code. Now it's AI. So a
Yeah.
lot of these kids were taught to go to school, get your
Yeah.
bachelor's in tech, and here we are really disrupting that industry. But to your point, from a technician standpoint, no AI currently will put it on. But
No.
another point to Gen Z, right? Why I think the tire industry should actually be very attractive. So Gen Z is the least motivated by money compared to any other generation.
Yeah.
They love flexibility. So if we think of like the OTR commercial, having a boom truck, maybe running your own schedule, running your own deal is very exciting to them. And career development and growth is the number one reason why they would actually leave a position. So maybe to your point, they really don't understand. Yeah, you might not be making 100K plus year one. The potential is there actually with proper training experience. You can get there, but to your point, you have to give it time to get
And
there.
I'll say as well, and I know that Gen Z loves flexibility, and there's no flexibility in our business.
True.
We're a nine to
Well,
fiver.
I think
Business
well,
opens at this time and it
yeah,
closes at that time, and
yeah.
I
You're not
need
doing it
you
for anyone.
there during that time.
So
And
I
and
think
that's
I
where
interpret,
they struggle.
yeah, I think I interpret though the flexibility piece that there is mobility, maybe to move to like a mobile truck
Yeah.
or something where you're
Oh,
not behind a shop door all day if that's something that you don't like to do, but
no
you're
question.
mobile.
No question. But it is a 5 to 6 day a week,
100%. Yeah.
8 to 5 kind of a job where being there is, quite frankly, one of the biggest challenges, I think, with some of the younger generations. The attitudes, well, if I'm not here, you're not paying me. So what's the problem? The problem is my customers are here
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're not here. So they're going to go someplace else. So now you're not going to have a place to work. And I think when you get into the earth mover, into the commercial tire road service space, um, these guys make bucks, but they're
Mhm.
working
They work hard.
50, 60 hours a week. I mean, it's a ton of overtime. It's, especially in the OTR, which is like the holy grail of the tire techs, because those are the guys that are pushing six figures that have a high school education. I mean, all you need is a driver's license, and I mean, a lot of them don't even require a high school diploma anymore. I don't care. I mean, if you're willing to work, if you've got some mechanical aptitude and you're willing to learn and listen, we've made it easier. We've got tools that we didn't have years ago that we have now. You look at whether it's on the commercial side or the earth mover. And I think that's the path, is that on the retail side of it, you start as an entry level tech and you're doing tires and oil changes and stuff like that. And then if you stick with it, you could take the technician path and possibly go to be an automotive technician where you're making much better money and you have a skill that's transferable. And here's a great saying that mechanics love to say: toolboxes have wheels. All right. Toolboxes have wheels. They're my tools. It's my toolbox. If I'm not happy here, I'll just wheel my tools right out the door and I'll go someplace else.
What
So you
so
have that
yeah.
flexibility from the standpoint of a car is a car anywhere in the country. You don't have to, I only work on cars in the Northeast. It's the same car in California, Texas, or anywhere else. So I think there's flexibility there. But then you can also go to that if you're really good with customers, if you're really good and you have a personality, you can start getting into the office. You can look at service manager position, assistant store manager position, manager position. I mean, a lot of guys start there. My family business, when we started and I left for college, we had a guy that came to work for us, and he was a tech. Came just out of the Army, mechanic in the Army, had some experience, and he learned, and he worked hard, and he was there every day, and he was reliable, and he was good with customers. And after my father sold the business, he ended up taking over as manager, and he's still manager to this day. We're talking like 30 years ago that, almost 35, 40 years ago, this guy started as a tech, and now he's the manager of the store, been through 2 different owners, and still there, and makes a great living. He's done great for himself and his family. So there's a ton of opportunity in this business for the people that are willing to show up and care and work hard. I mean, you'll be rewarded. And if not, you take that experience someplace else. I mean, I had a technician challenge me on that once. I said, look, you pay attention and learn what we do, you can go get a job anywhere. And he left, went across the country and found a job out there. And I haven't talked to him in years, but
Sure.
But it doesn't matter.
Always in demand.
They're transferable skills. And it goes back to that again. And it makes you so much better as a manager if you started as a tech.
Sure, yeah.
So you understand things better. So I think that on both sides, and the same on the commercial. You can go into commercial sales. I guarantee more than half of the commercial salespeople that are out there right now started as technicians. It's just where you start. It's the baseline.
My dad always says you have to learn how to sweep first as a kid.
Yeah. Oh, hey. I swept
that was his saying. You got to learn how to
mopped a lot of bathroom floors, scrubbed a lot of white walls.
So how are the best companies, as you're traveling and training, retaining their talent versus those that are losing it? I know it may be obvious, but what are they maybe doing differently that someone listening to this that's running a shop can learn and say, okay, how do we do a better job of retaining? Because the turnover with techs is extremely high.
It is.
Especially within that first year, 6 months, the turnover is extremely, extremely high.
Well, I think, again, it's showing them the path and reinforcing the path. And, when you see someone that has potential to be constantly, again, I'm old school. I don't need someone to tell me I'm doing a good job to know if I'm doing a good job. All right. I think this younger generation has been told their entire lives, you're doing a great job, even when they're not. So they don't take criticism particularly well. And I have a Gen Z son who I know, you don't know nothing. And it's a struggle, but I think that you've got to be patient with them. And I'm not good at it. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I'm the best at giving feedback to my Gen Z and millennials, because I'm not. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. But at the same point in time, when you're talking about those positions, is I don't know about necessarily rewarding, good behavior type thing, but certainly acknowledging it. You're doing a great job. Keep doing what you're doing. You know what? You've got a future in this business. How many people have you met in the tire business that have been here 20, 30, 40 years?
Everyone, really.
Exactly. There's a lot
20,
of us.
30, 40 years or 6 months, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's pretty much what it is that you it's either or, and you got to get past that 6 months. I mean, it's I did go to college. Now, I went to college to get out of the tire business. So that says a lot about me right there. You know more than you need to know right there, because I'm still in it. But I'm in it because I know it's not going anywhere. I know that it can't be replaced by robots or AI. That's way in my future, if ever. And it's still, we can power the thing with solar, electric, banana peels. It doesn't matter. You still got to have rubber on the ground. And it doesn't matter where you're at. I mean, whether on the OTR side, farm seems to be moving more towards tracks, but that's still tires. The tire guys are the ones doing the tracks now. So even though tires aren't as popular in the ag industry as they maybe used to be in the past, it's still a tire guy changing the tracks.
Sure.
Right. So there's just, you got to get them to get past that. And I think pay has a lot to do with it. I mean, this mandatory minimum wage has crushed us. I can make $18 an hour doing fast food, or I can make $18 an hour, on the ground changing car tires all day. And they see it as $18 an hour.
Sure.
But what are your opportunities in fast food? Do you really want to be in fast food for the rest of your life? Is that where you want to be? I mean, I'll give you one thing about the tire business is we have Sundays off. I mean, it's most businesses are closed on Sundays, and even the ones that don't. But I think it's rewarding them. It's you got to do more than just throw pizzas out there once a month and say, "Hey, we love you guys." I haven't talked to you in a month, and I haven't said any feedback at all. But here's some pizza to tell you I love you, and then they're out of there. I mean, there's got to be better communication. Again, I think it's showing them the path, reinforcing the path that you're on the right path right now. Stick with it, okay? Stick with it. Money has something to do with it. I'm not going to lie. People work for money. I don't work for free. I do this because I got bills to pay. I got a family to take care of. I got debts that got to be
So
paid.
so what can shops do differently, or the ones that are winning? Are they doing like like commission or bonus structure on top
Yeah,
of their
there's
quotas for the
always stuff.
day,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you have
There's
for
there's
mechanics?
opportunities for you to make more money.
Yeah,
There's always again, being appreciated. I mean, I think that's one thing about Gen Z that I will give
really
Gen
important.
Z is that
Yeah.
they love feedback. They love being praised. They love being told they're doing a good job. So I think when you find the ones that are doing a good job to be, thank you, great job, thank you, appreciate it. You're doing really well. Stick with it, hang in there. You're going to be okay. You got a long future in this business. Even if it's not here, but the ones that seem to struggle are the ones that you're just another number. You're just another tech. I can
Yeah.
find 20 people out there that'll do what you do and give me less shit. Um, and pardon my French, but I grew up in a
You're
shop.
okay.
I grew up in a shop around truck drivers and technicians my whole life, so I had a little every now and then it slips out. But no, I think that's and again, it's that realization that this is an 8 to 5 job. I mean, you know what? It doesn't have we don't have the flexibility where, well, I need to take off for this or take off for that. I think the dealers that can do that certainly have an advantage, but it's difficult to do. Again, I mean, you know, people expect tires to be serviced when tires need to be serviced and not told, oh well, you know, I'd be out there this afternoon, but my service tech is his kid's graduating first grade, and he needs to be at that. You know, it's a struggle. It's a balancing act, and you've got to kind of put the paycheck ahead of a lot of things. I can't tell you how many things I've missed in my son's life because of the travel and everything else. I mean, you don't get that back, but at the same point, I made certain things a priority, and for him, it was Boy Scouts. My son's a Eagle Scout, loves Boy
Awesome.
Scouts, won't let me leave. He's 25 years old, and he won't let me leave because he loves it so much. But I think that because I made that a priority for him, he's forgotten all about the Taekwondo belt ceremonies and all the other stuff that I've missed over the years because he
But he
remembers.
knows dad's working, right?
Yeah, and I
And
made
that's a
time for
really
the things
strong.
that are important to him, and I think
Yeah.
that's what this younger generation is going to be, is to be honest with your employer and say, hey, look, I'm going to be here for you, but this is something that I need from you. I need you to give. This is important to me.
Mm.
So we need to find a way to make sure that I can do this so that I can be there for my family, because that's what I want to do. And I've been very fortunate in my career at TIA that, my bosses have always, I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I can't do it that weekend. Well, but it's this. I know. I understand it's important. I understand it's a big deal. But that weekend is camping, and that's set aside for him. So, and they understood that. And I'm still here. But I think it's a balance, and balancing is difficult. Balancing work and family and kids, you can't have that. I mean, yeah, I'm working from home right now, but I've been here 30 years. I haven't
Sure.
worked from home
And you're
for 30
working.
years. I showed up at the office every day on a 100-mile round trip commute that sometimes took 2.5, 3 hours for a good 15 years before I had the opportunity to go to a more flexible schedule.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's out there for them. When you get to that management level, you get more flexibility like that, but you got to pay your dues. That's the part that I think they struggle with.
So that maybe the shop owner listening to this, or the manager, you have a real self-awareness, it sounds like, for what Gen Z is like looking for in terms of the way that we communicate with them. and I don't. Maybe a lot of our industry maybe doesn't, or they don't want to hear it. Right?
Well, we're old school.
We're
I
old
didn't do
school.
it that
You're old
way.
school. So,
Oh
but the
yeah.
point is like you're going to lose then if you want to attract Gen Z and build the bench. So it's not really about
Yeah.
being old school. It's like you kind of have to conform a bit or understand the Gen Z if you really want to attract and retain. And I think maybe a lot of them aren't really willing to do when you speak to them, or I would be shocked if they would because they are that old school.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, again, it's
Yeah.
it's difficult when you're in a, especially on the retail side.
Yeah.
It's a little easier on the truck side because you got slow days and fast days type thing. And hey, look, my kid's got a ball game tonight. Is there any way I can get off an hour early so I can get there in time like that? And all right, well, let me see what I can do. Let me see where we're at. Let's see how many jobs we got lined up type thing. So I think you got to be more open to the flexibility. And again, from an old school standpoint, when I was working for my dad, we had I went to split schedules. So I had a crew that started at 7 and ended at 4. I had 7:30 to 4:30 and 8 to 5. And the old guys were 7 to 4 because they didn't mind getting up early, and the younger guys were 8 to 5 because they could get the overtime in the afternoons. So I think, again, how can you work with your crew, with your team, to give you the coverage that you need, but to still provide enough flexibility for Gen Zers to have a life? I mean, and they do. We always put work ahead of play. And that was just work hard, play hard. And they want to play hard and work hard type thing. And they don't always balance in our business. I mean,
No.
again, it's highly competitive. And if you can't do it, someone else will. And I think those are the ones that churn, the ones that just no, 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 no. And these are the rules. And if you don't like it, there's the door. Then that's why they're going the door. That's why they're going the door. So finding that middle ground that works for them and works for you and your customers. I wish I had that secret sauce, because if I did, I'd open up my own tire business, but that ain't happening.
How far away are the robots from the shop putting on the actual tires, in your humble opinion?
It's the I think you're a long way from it, just from the standpoint of it's the unknowns,
Okay.
right? I mean, I say that a lot when I teach classes. It's all about the unknown factors, the things you can't predict. I mean, if everything works according to plan, yeah, you could get the machine will come over and the robot will come and remove all the lug nuts, and then the robot arm will pick the tire up and put it on a conveyor belt, and that conveyor belt is going to go like this, and it'll take it to the machine, and the machine will automatically demount and mount the tire, and then mount the new tire, and then the machine will take it over to the balancer, and the balancer will balance the tire, and then it'll put it back on the belt, and it'll go back. But the cost investment there is just astronomical. I mean, the cost factor, I think, is very restrictive in that respect. And it's what happens when you have a strip lug nut. What happens when the chrome caps are larger than the sockets? What happens when the wheel seizes onto the hub? What happens when you have to, and on the truck tire side, it's even worse because everything doesn't jack up the same way. So, I mean, there's so many factors that I think are at play that I think it's difficult to automate tire service, just because, again, it's such a physical job, which again is the downside to it, because it is physical, and
Sure.
your body does take it's a toll. I mean, there's no question you're going to pay a toll no matter what you do. And on the truck tire side of it, we've made it easier, and car tires, we've made it easier. We've made it less strenuous, less physical, but it's still a physical job. You're gonna have to work. I mean, there's a physical component to this job that never is going to go away. And that's tough for a generation that wants to be a YouTuber or an influencer or whatever. You're going to get dirty.
Yeah.
Your hands are going to hurt. Your shoulders are going to hurt. Some days your knees and hips and backs. I mean, but if you take good care of yourself, and you can transition into that sales job, you can transition into that service manager job. There's places for you to go in this business.
Or more advanced tech if you really like
Yeah,
still working with your hands.
exactly. And I think that again, on the automotive side of it, a lot of that's now laptop software type stuff.
Sure.
The software vehicle is coming, and it's already here. So I mean, there's more of that. It's not just turning wrenches anymore. There's a lot more technical aspect to it. So I think there's a lot of opportunity out there if you're willing to put in the work. And here's the thing, you're not going to get that layoff notice. If you're a good tech, I mean, that's one thing I will say about the tire business. If you're good, Seniority means nothing. Means I will keep a old technician that's making more money if he's more reliable, more accurate, does a better job, takes pride in his work, and makes me money. I can justify paying him more because if I take and I say, oh, I'm going to get rid of you and put this person in, and they're not as reliable, they don't do as good a work, their work is not as high a quality, they don't take any pride in it, and they're not good with my customers, you're not going to age out as fast. And even then, there's a lot of people that take credit for this, but we have a safety and training component now in the tire business that is a lot of old techs. So instead of taking those older technicians and putting them out the pasture or getting rid of them, we put them into safety and training jobs. So now they're the ones that are teaching the new guys, particularly in the earth mover side of it. I see a lot more of that, where they're going to teach you out there and not going to just give you a book. They're going to go out there and ride with the techs and do all that stuff. So again, there are those opportunities for you, but you gotta pay your dues first, because if you don't learn it and if you don't understand it at that base level, you're not going to be as effective in that safety training and that service manager and that store manager in that sales job. Understanding the components, tires, wheels, applications, vehicles, makes you so much better with that. And then it becomes the soft skills of dealing. And if you don't like people and you hate dealing with people and you want to work by yourself, truck tires, road service guys are in their trucks by themselves all day long. Earth mover, farm, industrial, commercial, you don't work with anybody. It's go here, fix that. Go there, fix that. Okay, what's next, boss? Go there and fix that. Boom. You have no supervision whatsoever in that respect because you're on your own. And it's, do the job. Don't wreck my truck. Don't lose your tools. All right? Do a good job. Don't get hurt. Follow the safety guidelines. So you're going to be around for a long time. And, why are OTR guys in their 50s? Because they're making great money and they can provide for their families and they know what they're doing and they've taken care of themselves and they're physically able to still do it. And, it's a good living. I know a lot of OTR guys, we just had Tony Pass, from Best One down in Georgia there at Jim Whitehead's. And he's in his 50s. He's been doing OTRs for 20 years. And I'm like, it's a tough job. He's like, yeah, it is. But it's put my kids through school. It puts food on my table. It's been great for my family to have this.
And I think any company in the U.S. that's on that retail side of the business service side would actually hire one. The OTR techs are that much in demand.
They're
always an opening. Literally, when I speak to any VP at one of those companies or owner, I'll hire anyone that you bring that's a legit OTR tech.
Well, they're
all employed or don't want to work anymore, right?
They're only unemployed if they're bad.
If they want, or if they want to be. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, I can say this. I mean, about the OTR guys are the prima donnas. All right. I mean, no offense to the OTR, because no offense to you guys. I love you guys and you work hard as anybody, harder than anybody in that respect, because you're out there in the middle of the night and, when a piece of equipment goes down in sub-zero weather at 2:00 in the morning, you're the guy out there changing that tire. That's not, that's hardcore.
That's hardcore.
But I would say this is that they get treated with kid gloves. They get they're the prima donna. That's
how we should treat maybe Gen Z. Treat OTR techs.
Well, Gen Z's not going to get there until he gets through. The Gen Z guy has to get through his commercial period first.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to put you on a $300,000 truck with $150,000 worth of tools.
Sure.
At the highest salary in the building, if I can't rely on you to be there. If you don't take care of my truck, if you don't take care of my tools, if you're not good with my customers. I mean, all those things build towards that. And then there's that holy grail out there. The best OTR guys are typically the former best truck tire guys.
I didn't know that.
The best truck tire guys are like, hey, that guy's really good, man. He works hard. He takes every hour I can get him. He's an overtime mule. He just does everything. He does great work. His stuff stays fixed. That's the marker for an OTR guy. And then it's, look, I want you to go into OTR. And they're like, yeah, now I'm going to make the big bucks. I'm like, yeah, now you're going to work the big hours, but you're going to make the big bucks. And almost every good OTR guy started as a tech.
Sure.
And they got noticed as a tech. The shop entry-level truck tire job is like single A ball. It's baseball season. Who are the guys that make the major leagues? the ones that work the hardest in A. So they go to double A, and then from double A, they go to triple A. And if they prove themselves in triple A, then they go to the big leagues. But what does it take to get from triple A to the big leagues? And I saw this the other day that talent is going to be equal when you get to that level. It's about heart. It's about work ethic. It's about showing up. It's about what kind of a teammate are you? What kind of a player are you? Are you respectful of your coaches? I mean, all those other factors are going to dictate between AAA and the majors. And I think it's no different for us. I think the same thing. Start at your single A as your entry-level tech. Then you're a shop tech. Then you go to a road service tech, or you're a C tech and doing oil changes and stuff like that. Then we're going to teach you brakes now. You're going to do brakes. And then we're going to send you to alignment school. And you're going to do alignments. And you do a really good with alignments and brakes. Hey, look, you want to go to the next stage? Let's take you to here. I'll take you to automotive. I'll send you to the local community college and get your AA in automotive technology. You can do that at night and get to be a full automotive tech and get the big toolboxes and all that stuff and make the kind of money. And even then, flat rate techs are going away, especially on the independent side, because they want salary. Flat rate techs are brutal. I mean, that's feast or famine. And
sure.
So these guys are making pretty good salaries now. I've seen a few of them that started as flat rate techs working in car dealerships that are now an independent because, look, they just proved it. But you gotta, no one's going to give it to you. And I think that's the message to send to the youth is that there's so much opportunity out there, but you got to earn it. Nothing's going to be handed to you. And if you're good, you're going to be rewarded because we're not going to want to lose that talent. I tell my people this all the time. You're making me money. If you're making me money, then I can afford to pay you. I can afford to give all those things I can afford to do for you. If you're making me money, if you're not making me money, then I'm going to replace you the first chance I get with somebody that I think will be better because I just don't need to do it. I mean, we're still in this business to make money. And, I think that's where the good dealers draw the line. You know what I mean? For the techs that make them money, they get the extras. They get a little more money. They get a little more flexibility because I know even if I give you an hour or two off here and there, or if I give you a little time here and there, I'm going to make that back.
The ROI is there.
Get you back. That was Tony.
Yeah.
With Tony Pass that we had at the OTR conference, the tech of the year. They're like, oh, you got a lot of time off right now, but you know what? When summertime hits and now all your vacation time is gone, you're going to make me some serious money. And that's kind of what it is. I mean, it's understanding the role that you play and that exactly you got to sweep floors first.
That's it.
And if you're not good at sweeping floors, then how are you going to clean a rim? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do that? How are you going to repair a tire? How are you going to take care of the customer's vehicle? I think that it all plays into that. And, I'm not not a blame game, but I think it's parents, schools. Again, we've pampered this generation where everybody gets a trophy and, everybody's a winner. And the world is full of winners and losers. And unfortunately, some people are on the losing side by no fault of their own.
Yeah.
Sold you're going to do this and you got all this student debt and all that other stuff. You don't need any debt at all. You can graduate high school, start working Monday morning the next week as a tech, and within 4 or 5 years, be making pretty good money with a really good living, with a skill that's transferable. And if you don't like it here, then move somewhere else and go. I mean, that's not that I want you to do that, but people, they don't leave bad people. They don't leave bad companies. They leave bad managers.
Yep. That's a saying,
and I think that's true to some extent. But again, it is being realistic and not, oh, this is great and blah, blah, blah. It's a tough business. And I always told techs when I'd hire them, I never hired when I was working with my dad. I never hired people with experience. I didn't want them bringing their bad habits into my shop. So I'd hire people that are green. That just, look, I need a job, man. I keep getting laid off and I keep getting cut. I'm like, I guarantee you'll get your 40. Even when we're slow in the winter and there's nothing to do, I'm going to pay you your 40 so that when we're busy in the summer and you're getting your 50, 55, 60 hours a week, I'll make my money then. I don't have to make it all right now. And my dad taught me that. He's like, he's like, you got to give them their 40.
because they have to pay their rent in the winter.
And they're guaranteed, if they know they're guaranteed that 40, and there's no rain days in the tire business. Construction. Oh yeah, but there's 3 rain days in a row I didn't get paid. we still get paid. I'll have you there, and there's always something to do. There's something to clean, something to fix, something to move, something to stack. There's always work to be done, but you got to be willing to work. I mean, I think that's the work ethic side of it is where we're lacking, especially in a business like ours that's physical, that requires a little more. I think that's the thing. But yeah, it's
Thank you for that,
employers
Kevin.
got to realize that you got to be more than just a paycheck.
Yeah, so it sounds like both sides really have to kind of meet in the middle now. Hopefully, over
Yeah.
the next few years, we sort of see that happening as the market and the labor market are shifting. Any last words, really, Kevin, to someone maybe listening to this or how to contact you?
I have
Um,
no any
I
idea.
guess we'll see you at SEMA is probably the next big event that you'll
Yeah,
be at.
I'll be at SEMA out there. You can always go to tireindustry.org and see what we're doing there, and looking at the tire industry. I mean, our members are the ones that are going to train. I think if there's any message to the young people out there is, when you go to the tire dealer, if you're going to look at it, is what's your training program? Okay. How are you going to train me? And I think that today there's so many more dealers that are doing onboard training, and I'm going to pay you for a day or two just to train
Hmm.
because I want you to do it safe. And if you do this job correctly, you can do it for a long time. And if you shortcut it and do it the unsafe way, you won't. So I think again, it's don't just look at one thing, look at everything. But the companies that are willing to pay you, the ones that have benefits, it all comes into that whole thing. I mean, again, I don't even need a high school diploma. All I need is a driver's license on the truck tire side. If you've got a decent driving record and a driver's license and you're willing to work hard, then there's a career for you. I mean, you don't need any advanced. You have no debt. You can start this business with zero debt and make money on day one and make money for the rest of your life and never go to class other than tire training class really ever again. I mean, you don't need to get all that data. You don't need all that expensive training. They'll provide it to you for free.
Hmm.
They'll pay you to go through that training because again, that's what it requires. So I think that seeing the big picture, understanding there's a path, and that the only way to stay on that path, show up, work hard, care about your work, care about your customers. And if you could do those four things, I guarantee there are a ton of tire dealers out there that will hire you tomorrow and will put you on a path to a lifetime of earnings. I mean, there's so many of us out there that we all started as techs. And even if it's not as techs, as sales support people, I mean, there's so many different paths in this business.
Totally.
And a great place to start is at that tech level because it all kind of boils back to
You learn a
the guy
lot.
under the car,
Yeah.
So
Well, Kevin, thank you so much again, and appreciate you sharing your four principles and everything else in your background. And yeah, looking forward to
I think we're
seeing
a
you at
little over
SEMA.
30 minutes. I'm looking at
Yeah,
the clock right here,
yeah.
so
So
sorry
we'll
about
stop
that.
it here.